Hey everybody, it's Jim with Triple J Bricks. Welcome back to another video. So in one of my previous videos, I discussed building the Forestman Crossing MOC that I found on Rebrickable. I loved the nod to the 1990 version of the set with a very modern take, but I wanted to make some changes to it to make it feel a little bit more cobbled together. The build that was on Rebrickable has a very clean tower, as you can see, and kind of feels a little bit too similar to maybe the Lion Knight's castle. So I thought, let's make this a little bit more wood based and a little bit more, sort of that cobbled together feel. So I pulled all the parts, I recorded the beginning of it as well, and I showcased like the parts and the mills plate that I made for it because I was planning to make it, build it for a video. Well, I kind of made the mistake of opening the instructions for the first time as I sat down to build it after I had already decided to make a video, which I really should have looked through the instructions beforehand, because I kind of was going through it, and what I quickly realized was I wanted to make too many changes. Absolutely nothing against this MOC or the creator. It's a really, really awesome piece, but there's some interior stuff that I wanted to change, and it just wasn't what I wanted. It just wasn't what I was envisioning in my head. So I scrapped it. I wanted to make something that was still a nod to the old set, because I thought that was a really cool idea, meaning sort of the building, the river, and then the large tree. And so the tree was a big part that I did want to keep into it. But I wanted a bit more story as to sort of how this structure came to be. Where did they just build this tower with what resources sort of in the forest? And so I came up with the idea that it could be a water mill, like an old abandoned water mill that the forestmen found and sort of took over and adapted it to sort of like a base. So, I was thinking that they cobbled together some defenses and fortified it a little bit. And then I thought it would be really cool if the old water wheel from the water mill was hoisted up and set into the treetop as sort of a makeshift lookout tower or a turret that archers could stand guard. And I thought that would look really cool to have the tree sort of growing with, like the vines and the leaves coming up, but then the water wheel became that turret, and maybe they added some things to it. So I found a reference image that captured essentially the watermill I was thinking of. Stone base with a little walkway, a wood frame for it that they could transform and they could live in, and maybe have a small armory or something. I thought to myself, great, now I just need to build it. So when I sat down, I faced a realization and a massive creative roadblock to the point where I thought, maybe I can't build this. Maybe I can't do this. So I wanted to make this video in hopes that it helps other MOC builders out there, and really to also continue to keep me motivated as I work through this project. First, what do I mean when I say skill versus taste? So Ira Glass from NPR and host of This American Life gave us this perspective. And I'm going to show it on screen and I'm going to read it out loud because I believe this is absolutely spot on when it comes to everyone's starting position when starting a new creative journey. And I think it applies to every medium. I always think of this quote whenever I hit a creative roadblock, so I thought I would share it with you. Nobody tells this to people who are beginners. I wish someone had told me. All of us who do creative work, we get into it because we have good taste. But there's this gap. For the first couple of years you make stuff, it's just not that good. It's trying to be good, it has potential, but it's not. But your taste, the thing that got you into the game, is still killer. And your taste is why your work disappoints you. A lot of people never get past this phase. They quit. Most people I know who do interesting, creative work went through years of this. We know our work doesn't have this special thing that we want it to have. We all go through this. And if you're just starting out or you are still in this phase, you gotta know that it's normal. And the most important thing you can do is do a lot of work. Put yourself on a deadline so that every week you finish one piece. It's only by going through a volume of work that you will close that gap, and your work will be as good as your ambitions. And I took longer to figure out how to do this than anyone I've ever met. It's going to take a while. It's normal to take a while. You just gotta fight your way through. This is exactly what happened to me. I can see it in my head. I can see it in the images, clear as day. But all I'm distracted by is the hundreds of studs on this blank Mills plate staring at me, all of which could have an infinite number of combinations of parts on them to achieve what I want. I have thousands of parts in my inventory, organized and sorted the way I want them, for the most part. And I don't know how I'll ever make what I see in my head. Like, where do I start? Can I even pull this off? It sounds easy, but you just have to start, anywhere. It really doesn't matter. All that matters is that you begin. I finally did just that. I grabbed a plate that I thought could work for the base of the water wheel, and I just started laying parts down on it. That led to more parts. That led to more parts that I thought that could work. And then this idea jumped into my head, and then this part, and eventually you have something built. It took me a few hours to get to this point that I'm showing. It's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. And it might not be exactly what you envisioned in your head, but you also have to remember that it's yours and you made it. And that's important. And now that you have something that you've built, you can work on getting it closer and closer. Celebrate those wins, because those are actually pretty huge milestones, especially when it comes to starting out with something like this. And I think that'll make you feel more confident the next time you sit down to create something or you continue to work on the project. I know it's helped me feel more confident as I continue to work on this project, because now I have a piece, and that leads into another piece, and that leads into another piece. And I did it one time, I can do it again. Creativity is it's such a powerful and elusive concept, and that I'm always really, really fascinated by. And we just can't really pin it down or measure it. And I think that's what makes it interesting and exciting and fresh all the time. But ultimately, it's about finding the best step forward. And the best step is the first one. I hope that some of this or all of this can help you in some way with your own mock building, and whether you've been mock building or you've run into a roadblock, or you're thinking about starting mock building, or maybe you are just starting to get into mock building, or maybe you're writing a book, or maybe you're doing something else completely different at the same time. Whatever creative venture that you're doing, I hope this can help you in some way, because we all need that little push sometimes. It's why I close all of my videos by saying, keep on building. It's meant in much more than the literal sense, right? Keep on improving, keep finding ways to grow and learn. Keep closing that gap between skill and taste. Keep making stuff. Thanks for watching, everybody. And remember, until next time, keep on building. Jim, out.